Bluey movie is going to be completely different from what you're expecting. This story will be more than just emotional. It's going to be magical. Are you ready to find out what's going to happen in the Healer family's movie? Bluey! The villain. The Bluey movie is going to bring something that has never been seen in this world before. A villain. Yes, this is really going to happen. You know we're talking about a feature-length film for theaters that will be over an hour long. That means a big story needs a serious problem to be solved. In other words, for the first time, Bluey will have to face a villain. But who would this character be? Is there really someone out there who wants to hurt our heroes? Well, you might want to ask Bosco, Frisky's ex-boyfriend. He could definitely be someone who didn't like losing Frisky to Bandit's brother. Could he be angry and planning some kind of revenge against the Healers? There's also another character who might be mad. Bandit's old schoolmate, Bucky Dunstan. He tried to sell the Healer's house, but since they backed out of the sale, unfortunately Bucky lost a fortune. The Healer house is worth millions of dollars because they live in a super wealthy neighborhood. So yeah, Bucky was supposed to make a lot of money, but now he's furious because he lost the best deal of his life. Did he turn into a villain and is now trying to destroy Bandit's house? We'll find all that out and so much more right now. Grab your popcorn because another Cinewave is starting. 3D. The Bluey movie might even be different in its animation style, because we might be talking about a full 3D story for theaters. A few months ago, Bluey's official social media account said this movie is going to be completely computer-made, the famous CGI. In other words, this new Healer family story is supposed to let you explore Bluey's house in the city of Brisbane in a completely different way. In the regular episodes, you're used to watching 2D animation, but now in theaters, this movie might come in a brand new animated art style. Can you imagine how cool it would feel to be inside the movie right alongside Bluey and Bingo? Get ready, because this might be the big surprise for the next chapter in the Healer family's adventures. So does this mean from now on Bluey will be in 3D? It could be a pretty interesting experience. Continuation. On Bluey's official site, Joe Brumm, the creator of the show, said he loved all the work done in the episode The Sign, and that the movie would be a natural continuation of that. Joe's comment made the entire internet realize he might have just dropped a hint about what the movie's story will be. Bluey on the big screen will continue what happened at Frisky's wedding. If that's true, then we can absolutely expect those villain theories, maybe Bosco, and even the whole storyline behind the Healer's house almost being sold. Like, for example, what would Bandit's new job have been? Mr. Healer turned down the job opportunity, but we never actually found out what that new life would have looked like for Bluey and her family. In other words, there are still a lot of stories that need to be told in this movie. And do you remember that Uncle Stripe and Aunt Trixie were fighting at Frisky's wedding? On the big screen, we might see them separate, Muffin and Socks' heartbreak, and of course, just like in Bluey, things would work out, they'd fall in love again, and get remarried. Could Bluey the movie end up being a love story? New cousin. If it's true the movie is going to continue the episode The Sign, then the story will show the birth of Bluey's new cousin, Aunt Brandy's son, since she showed up pregnant at Frisky's wedding. That means we'll finally get to meet Chilli's sister's family. But who could Brandy's husband be? And what about that crib Mrs. Healer made Bandit take out of the room? Was it actually given as a gift for the new baby? This movie might show a very emotional story, taking us back to the past to discover what really happened to Chilli's mother, her illness, and the end of her life. What happened to Chilli's mom is probably the main reason why the Cattle sisters have trouble getting pregnant. Let's remember that Mrs. Healer also lost a pup. So will this movie finally reveal everything about Bluey's brother? I sure hope so. But if it really happens, get ready, because you'll probably cry a lot. Would you like to meet another little Healer pup? Drop a hashtag Bluey in the comments so we can find out. Future. This new movie also has the chance to show a huge time jump where Bluey becomes a teenager and then a grown-up dog. The truth is, there's a real possibility Season 4 will be the last one with the little blue pup as the main character. In the future, we'll get a brand new main character, Bluey's daughter, who we call Roxy here on the channel. That's actually the main reason this movie exists in the first place. It's going to show our blue pup growing up, having her first boyfriend, which will definitely be Jean-Luc, but that romance won't last long. We already know Roxy's dad is Mackenzie, and that's because Bluey's daughter is a border Healer pup, a mix between Bluey's breed and her school friends. And at the very end of the movie, we're going to watch Bluey's wedding. All of this will lead to the creator Joe Brumm announcing a brand new series in the universe, this time with Roxy as the main character. That's going to be so awesome to watch, right? Disney. And why wouldn't the Bluey movies show a family trip to Disney? Everyone knows these characters are part of Mickey Mouse's world, along with all the princesses and Pixar movies. We all know it's time to finally show Disney in Bluey's version, especially since most of this show's fans are from the United States. Plus, Chilli works at an airport, which means she could easily win a trip for the whole family through her job. Let's also remember that $5 bill that shows up in the episode Markets. It's a tribute to Queen Elizabeth. That means there are dog versions of famous people in this world. So, does that mean there's a dog Princess Elsa? A dog Moana? It would be amazing to finally see the Disney of Bluey's world in the new movie, don't you think? Time capsule. Do you know what a time capsule is? Imagine you and your friends decide to bury toys, photos, and other stuff in your backyard, and then 30 or 40 years later, you all meet up again to dig up the box and remember everything that happened. Dogs love to bury things, and that's why we believe the Bluey movie will show a time capsule connected to Chilli and Bandit's past. Picture this. One morning, Bluey and Bingo discover that their dad is digging something up near that red tree in the backyard. And when they ask what it is, Bandit answers that it's a time capsule that he and Mrs. Healer buried. That's the moment when a journey through time begins. We go back to the past to discover everything that happened during Bandit and Chilli's very first date in London, the start of their relationship, and finally, the heartbreaking loss of their first pup. The movie's story would be Bandit and Chilli's past, using the time capsule as the reason to tell it. And in the end, when Mr. Healer finishes telling the story, Bluey and Bingo will bury their own box. This story would also serve to introduce Bluey's daughter at the end of the movie, where Roxy is the one who finds her mom's box in the backyard and becomes the next main character. You get where we're going with this, right? That's why Bluey visits her parents with Roxy that day. Chilli said Bingo was in the backyard, of course, because she was about to dig up the time capsule with her sister. It all makes perfect sense. Wedding. What if this movie's story ends up being about weddings? Yes, that theme has everything to do with Bluey. The episode showing the day Frisky got married was the most watched of the entire series. But there are other weddings we'd love to see too. For example, the day Chilli and Bandit moved in together. Wait a second, they're already married. Yes, but what we're talking about is a movie that tells the full story of the Healer family. The film could start by showing the past and the beginning of Grandma Chris and Grandpa Bob's love story. Then, Chilli and Aunt Trixie would share how they first met, became friends, and later married Bandit and Stripe. But why would all these stories be told? Well, maybe because a very special bride is confused and wants to learn a little more about love. And who would that character be? Of course, we're talking about Bluey. At the end of the movie, we'd find out that Bluey is already grown up and about to marry Mackenzie. And wouldn't it be super cool if in a post-credit scene, we actually saw Roxy's birth? This movie is going to be fantastic. And what's even more fantastic is getting our videos every single day. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Outback. If Bluey's mission is to show the world Australian culture, and we know it is, then at some point we're definitely going to see the Outback Desert. Australia has a huge desert right in the middle of the country, and that's why we believe the movie will take place there, where Bandit will bring his daughters to teach them more about his work as an archaeologist. And maybe on that day, Bingo will discover a brand new dinosaur species. That could be the big motivation she needs to follow in her dad's footsteps and become the greatest archaeologist in Bluey's world. Do you think Bingo would name her dinosaur Bingosaurus Rex? Alternate ending. Have you ever wondered what the Healer family's future would have looked like if they had moved to another city? Maybe the movie will show exactly that in an alternate ending. The story starts with the Healers finally selling their house and moving to a new city. At first, Bluey feels sad because she thinks she'll never see her friends again, but that changes when she starts at her new school. Her teacher is really nice, not quite as special as Calypso, but she knows exactly how to welcome Bluey. So the little pup makes new friends and even falls in love with a classmate. This becomes Bluey's very first love. But as they grow older, Bluey decides to take a vacation at the same campsite from season 1, and it's there that she runs into Jean-Luc again, and the two become best friends all over. The entire story ends up being just one big dream Bluey had, where she never moved away. But we as fans get to see what would have happened if the ending had been different. What do you think about this theory? Cinema. And finally, no matter what the Bluey movie story is going to be, You'll find out everything on August 6th, 2027, because that's the day this movie hits theaters. The creator of the show has already confirmed the premiere of this big screen adventure, so go ahead and mark your calendar, because in August 2027, you've got a date with Bluey. But for now, your date is with us. We've got 2 more videos lined up for everyone to enjoy. We'll see you in just a bit. Until next time.